Tonight on the Jantic Journal, finishing the Manco build. Alright, working on the Manko Seat Pan here. This is the new method we're trying out for making seat padding. You may have seen the older video where we did some stuff with the high density foam, but that turned out not to have quite the amount of thickness that we were going to need. So we got some of this carpet padding here. Comes on a nice big roll. We got it cut up, I don't know, it's maybe 1/4 inch thick. I got, you can see, 6 layers here to get this height of a couple of inches. And that's basically, got a couple of old seats here that we used as a template. So
that's harsh on the viewers' ears.
We got about the same height, and we got about the same amount of push, kind of the same stiffness here on these two pieces. Alright, we're going to cut the seat foam here down to the final size using the pan as a template. I'm going to try to go just a little bit bigger than the actual outline, so there's a little bit of overlap for the foam around this sharp metal edge that I left here. We're going to be using this electric turkey carving knife. It cuts through this stuff like nothing, so hopefully this will go pretty smoothly.
Paul's just going to use the winging it technique. Determination.
Alright, so we're all finished sewing up the seat cover here. We made it out of some of the vinyl, supposed to be good to -10-degree outdoor use stuff, and stitched it up on the sewing machine using some real heavy duty, I think it's nylon thread. Tried test fitting our foam onto the seat pan, onto the cover, and I found that these corners were really stabbing out into the leather and we're probably going to tear through. So we grabbed some more of our carpet foam and we cut a little side ring to go around the outside, give it maybe a 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch overhang. So hopefully that's going to protect the sharp edge of this metal seat pan from digging into the fabric when we get the thing all stretched. So I'm going to go ahead and put it together and see how she looks. These guys fit together pretty nice, good fitment, but it just doesn't match up with this seat pan that I've made. The metal corners dig into the side of this vinyl. Even when I tried to tuck it up into the foam, it's just too big. I think I should have made these a 1/2 inch bigger than this to accommodate, but I made them the same size. So at this point I either have to remake my seat, remake my cover to fit this, or do what I probably should have done from the start and just make this out of wood. So we're making it out of wood. This thing, gone, done. Get back at you in a minute. Finished up and mounted on the bike. I think it came out pretty good. Didn't get too much play side to side. It got some flex in the springs, so I think we're good to go. Alright, so before we put the engine on this guy, it's time to get rid of the factory brake. I don't know if you guys saw this in any of the earlier videos, but the brake pedal actually just pushes a metal thing into the rubber of the tire. And that's how this came. So we're going to go with some kind of a hydraulic brake setup, hopefully, but for start, we're just going to hack this thing off of here. That's a piece of shit. So we're trying to adapt a Motovox rotor and caliper setup, preferably the hydraulic setup that we've put on the Doodlebug, onto this Manco rim. And the problem is that A, the rotor doesn't fit over the rim, and B, there is very little clearance for the rotor and the rim here where the caliper is going to have to fit, that we're going to have problems touching on the rim. So it may involve stretching the frame a little wider, it may involve notching the frame, it may involve grinding down this rim a little bit, but we think we're going to be able to make it work.
It may involve starting over with a whole new...
It may involve buying a new mini bike, but we think we'll be able to get this to work. And the first thing we got to do is widen the center hole on this so it can fit over. And rather than just try to weld this right to this, we're going to make a hub to bolt this to the hub and slide the whole thing over. And that'll allow us to position it anywhere we can need it to go to line up with that caliper mount.
This is the back of the stock Manco frame. You can see there's just not a whole lot of room there. There isn't on much of them, but at least some of the other bikes come with a disc already. We might have to be doing this on Joey's Whirlwind too. So let's see what we got going over here at the machine. Got a piece of 1/4-inch steel jigged up.
We got it on the rotary table with the rotary table centered to the machine here. We're going to start by just hacking with the hacksaw or hole saw a starter hole, and then we're going to use an actual milling tool to try to make our nice round hole with the right diameter. Alright, so we're going to clean up that hole saw hole with the boring head.
Hopefully we don't snap it right off. Working pretty well.
Doing this by hand feed as well, because the coil down feed doesn't work. Doing it by hand, just putting a little pressure on, letting the blade do the work. Pretty nice. Now we'll go ahead and actually set up for our measured hole cut. Alright, making our final cut here. This should bring us to our desired diameter. The smoke show is just for visual effect. And smell. Go to your YouTube settings, turn on your smell vision. Alright, so we're going to make our bolt holes now. We got the right size drill bit for some 1/4-inch hardware that we're going to tap this to. We're actually going to put our threads right in this new hub we're making. Using the measurements on the Bridgeport, we've got our hole position. You can see how close it is to the edge of that inner hole. And then we're just going to use the rotary table to make our 6 holes every 60 degrees.
Oh, look how perfect that chip is there. Do you see that caterpillar there? It's a sharp blade.
Alright, so we got our 6 bolt holes drilled. Now we're just going to cut the outer edge of the hub with the hole saw. Alright, so checking the fitment to our bolt holes. Not perfect, but I don't think we're going to have to hog anything out. I think it's going to bolt right up. And we'll take it over here, put it on our wheel here. And it is a tight fit, which is awesome. Slides right over. So we'll be able to get this set up, hopefully right where we need it. All we have left to do is hog out this center hole, similar method that we did on the hub there, so that it will slide over as well. We'll be good to go. Alright, we got the caliper welded on and bolted back onto my little mount there. And now we're working on the brake rotor. For the last couple of weeks, I've been trying to figure out why I had so much play in this. Like, you would spin the axle and the rotor was so out of alignment that the caliper would move back and forth like a ½ inch in either direction. Went ahead and got a new axle bolt and a new bearing for each side of the tube, and surprisingly it seems to have tightened everything up. Now you can see it spins pretty straight in the caliper, and I think we're going to be good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and clean up this paint off of this tube and weld this rotor on. Here we got the completed brake setup. The hub is welded on to the tube. We got the tire back on our wheel. Calipers all mounted up. Lines run up to our brake handle, and it's working pretty good. And that was the last piece of this bike. This thing is all put together and ready to ride. You can see still needs to be repainted. It's got some bare metal, it's got some rough stuff, but I think we'll save that for this winter, and we'll get this bike out on the streets. Catch you next time at the Jantic Journal.